I'm Kelly Walters, and we're going to work on our phonological awareness. Remember that reading begins with your ears. What does reading begin with? That's right, your ears. The sounds you hear help you to read. So let's begin with rhyming. We have some pictures here, and we're going to think of some words that rhyme. This first picture here is of a seal. Can you think of a word that rhymes with seal? Seal. Did you think of a word? What about meal? Does that rhyme with seal? Let's test that. Seal. Meal. Do you hear the "ill" at the end of those words? Then those are rhyming words. They have the same ending sound. Let's look at this next picture here. We have a meal, but here we're going to call this, if you have this with your mom, she might make some stew. Do you eat stew? Let's see if we can think of a word that rhymes with stew. Stew. Did you think of a word? What about chew? When you eat your meal, you have to chew. Does stew and chew rhyme? Let's see. Stew. Chew. Do you hear the "oo" at the end of those words? Then those words rhyme. Stew and chew. Down here at this picture, we have the word hay. Hay. What word rhymes with hay? Can you think of a word? Hay. What about play? Does play rhyme with hay? Let's see. Hay. Play. Do you hear the "a" sound at the end of those words? Then those are rhyming words. Now in the last picture here, we have rice. What word would rhyme with rice? Can you think of a word? What about nice? It would be nice to have a bowl of rice to go with my stew. Let's see. Rice. Nice. Do you hear the "ice" sound at the end of the word rice and nice? Then rice and ice are rhyming words. Now we're going to move to syllables. Remember that each syllable has one vowel sound. And we have two types of syllables that we're going to talk about. We talk about jelly bean words. Those are syllables that you can eat in one bite. They have only one vowel sound. Then we have elephant words. That could be 2, 3, 4, 5. We have to break those syllables down into smaller chunks because we have to eat them in more than one bite. So we call those elephant words. So let's begin with our jelly bean words. Let's look at this first picture. He looks like he's digging something, right? So if we say dig, that is a jelly bean word. Dig. We can eat that syllable in one bite. Down here at the bottom, we have a picture of the word sun. Sun. That is a jelly bean word because we can say that word in one bite. Sun. Over here, we have the word hut. Hut. We can say that in one bite. Hut. And on a hot day, we might need a fan. Fan. We can say that one in one bite. Fan. But let's look at some elephant words. These words are going to have more than one syllable. This first picture shows a campfire. Campfire. That one has 2 syllables. Down here at the bottom, we have what looks like a cat. But this is a special kind of cat. It is called a bobcat. Can you say that word? Bobcat. Bobcat has 2 syllables. Bobcat. Over here, do you recognize this character? Have you ever seen Batman? Batman has 2 syllables. Batman. In our last picture, if you've been out playing in the mud, I hope you take your bath in a bathtub. How many syllables does the word bathtub have? Let's count them. Bathtub. That's 2 syllables in that word. Now we're going to move to our sentence segmentation. And if you remember yesterday, we had all of our sentences that had 4. I wonder if they'll be the same today. Let's take a look at our sentences. Our first sentence is, who has the chips? Who has the chips? Let's count the words in that sentence. Who has the chips? Did you count 4? Let's see it on the board. Now remember, what do we start our word with? That's right. We always start with a capital letter. Who has the chips? Now, let's count how many words. Who has the chips? So let's think about this. Am I telling you something in that sentence? Do you know who has the chips? I didn't tell you that someone has the chips. So this is a different kind of sentence than the sentences we did yesterday. This sentence is asking you a question. It's asking you to tell me who has the chips. So we have to end this sentence with a different type of ending. We're going to end it with a question mark because I want you to tell me who has the chips. Let's do the next sentence. Put the cups on the mats. Put the cups on the mat. Let's count these. Ready? Put the cups on the mats. Did you count 6 words? Let's write that. What do we start with? That's right, a capital letter. Put the cups on the mat. Now, am I telling you something or asking you something in that sentence? Did I ask you to tell me who put the cups on the mats? No. I'm telling you to put the cups on the mats. So what am I going to end with in this sentence? That's right. We end those telling sentences with a period. Great job. All right, our next sentence. Rick sits in the sun and sips. Let's count those words. Rick sits in the sun and sips. Did you count 7 words in that sentence? Let's see if we can write that. I hope you can help me remember all 7 of those words. That might be a challenge. Rick sits. What do I begin with? Capital letter. Rick sits. Where did he sit again? Oh, that's right. In the sun. And what did he do in the sun? That's right. And sips. Now, did I ask you who sits in the sun? No, I didn't ask you. I already know who sits in the sun. Rick sits in the sun. So am I asking or telling? I'm telling you here. And how do we end a telling sentence? That's right. We end with a period. Rick sits in the sun and sips. Great job. So when you're working on reading these words and you want to write them out, you can count out each word and write them down so you can remember the words of your sentences. Now we're going to start breaking apart our words. We're going to look a little closer at those jelly bean words, and we're going to break them apart into parts, just like we did yesterday. Remember that these words have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we're going to start with the beginning of the words. So look at this picture. What are these teddy bears doing? That's right, they're hugging. So let's look at the word hug. What letter begins the word hug? G. Hug. What letter makes the sound? Did you say H? That's right. H begins the word hug. Now this picture, they're showing a mop. We're going to look for the letter that begins the word mop. Mop. What letter begins that word? What letter makes the sound? Did you say M? That's correct. Mop. M begins the word mop. Now this looks like one of those pictures from yesterday, but we're looking at the whole picture here instead of the top of the picture, and this word is pot. What letter begins the word pot? Pot. What letter makes the p sound? P. Did you say P? That's correct. P begins the word pot. And the last picture we have is the word cup. What letter begins the word cup? Cup. K. What letter makes the k sound? Did you say the letter C? You're correct. K. C makes the k sound. C begins the word cup. Now let's look at those pictures again, and this time we're going to look for the middle sound. So let's look at the word hug. Let's think about that word hug. Hug. What letter is in the middle of the word hug? What letter makes the sound? Did you say U? That's correct. U is in the middle of the word hug. Let's look at the next picture, mop. What letter is in the middle of the word mop? Did you say That's correct. O is in the middle of the word op. Is the sound for O. Let's look at the next picture. Pot. Pot. What letter is in the middle of the word pot? Pot. What letter says That's correct. O says is in the middle of the word pot. And our last one for this one, cup. What letter is in the middle of the word cup? What What letter makes the sound? Did you say U? That's correct. U says and U is the letter in the middle of the word cup. Did you notice that those letters that come in the middle of our words are vowels? We have 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. And they come in the middle of our words. And a little while ago, we did the syllables, and I told you that each syllable has one vowel sound. So in the middle of each of these jelly bean words, which are one syllable, we are going to have a vowel sound. Let's look at the final part of our word. What letter sound do we hear at the end of the word hug? G. What letter makes the G sound? Did you say G? You're correct. G. G is at the end of the word hug. Mop. What letter makes the P sound at the end of the word mop? Did you say P? That's correct. P is at the end of the word mop. It says P. What about pot? What letter is at the end of the word pot? P-A-T. Pot. Did you say T? You're correct. T is at the end of the word pot. It says T. Last, cup. What letter is at the end of the word cup? K-A-P. Cup. Did you say P? That's correct. P. P is at the end of the word cup. It says P. Great job breaking apart that word. Now let's look at our language awareness. On this one, we're looking at the meanings, what the words mean. And yesterday, we looked at opposite words or antonyms. They had things that meant opposite things. Today, we're going to look at words that have the same meaning. We call those synonyms. They mean the same. And do you notice my first picture here? Do you notice that they look the same? They may be different colors, but they're the same thing. Do you know what these are called? That's right. You may have said bucket. But did you know that a pail is also a bucket? Pail means the same thing as the word bucket. Let's look at these two pictures. We have a boy running. We could say he's fast. And then we have a stopwatch. He might be using that stopwatch. And we could say that that little dial on the stopwatch is quick. Fast and quick mean the same thing. Down here at the bottom, do you see this face down here at the bottom? That face looks mad. And we have a little girl here. She looks mad too. We could say she's angry. Mad and angry are synonyms. They mean almost the same thing, mad and angry. So words that mean the same are called synonyms. Words that mean opposite are called antonyms. All right, are you ready for your riddle? Did you tell your teacher what letter began with our ending sound from yesterday? Do you remember what that was? It was a pig. Did you find a word that began with the P sound like in pig? What about pear? Does pear begin with the P sound like in pig? Great job. So I can say I have P like in the word pear. Who has a word that begins like T in the word tomato? Can you think of a word that has the T sound? I have a tree. That begins with the T sound. Who has a word that begins like this one? That's a picture of a bear. What letter makes the bear sound, the beginning of the word bear. B. Can you think of a word that begins like in bear with a B sound? Did you think of a word? Great. I have the word banana. That begins with a B sound. Now this is the one I want you to tell your teacher. Who has a word that begins like the word fish? What sound do we hear in the beginning of fish? Can you think of a word that has the same sound as the beginning of the word fish? Find a word that has that same sound as the beginning of the word fish. And tell that to your teacher tomorrow. Great job today. I'll see you tomorrow.